Stories carved from concrete and root, tracks rusting, sidewalks splitting, weeds rising, proof that nothing stays buried forever. From alleys and overpasses where hope flickers faint, to dawn-lit forests where breath turns to mist and fears fall silent. Hands roughened by city work and wilderness survival alike, shoulders burdened by memories, freed by the miles walked beyond them. This is a testament to grit, to wandering without apology, to building shelter from ruins. A journey forged for one woman's right to live as she was never allowed to before. A journey for every soul that refuses to bow to the grind. Voidkeeper Adventures, a life unhidden, a path unbeaten. Walk it with us.
Hello and welcome to the channel. You may recognize me, maybe from my past ventures or from crossing paths somewhere out there in the world. Then again, maybe you don't. So let me introduce myself. I've gone by many names. DJ Stutters with 3 T's, Little Smitty, even Sherlock Holmes when I was younger. But today, I'm coming to you just as another person. For those who have never heard of me before, my name is Robert, or Voidkeeper if you prefer. I'm here to tell you the story of a woman who's been through more than most people can ever imagine. Despite everything that's been thrown her way, she's standing tall, she's still fighting, and more importantly, she's still loving. For many years of my life, I spent my time around a woman unlike any other. A presence that was both familiar and elusive, learning from her, watching her navigate life's sharp edges. I found myself inspired in ways words could barely capture. There was a strength in her silence, resilience in her every movement, even when her body ached or the world seemed stacked against her. This is the tale about the unfolding of someone's life through the haze of hardship and the quiet courage that's within. So, I remember the first time I truly noticed her, though not in a flashy, dramatic way. It was subtle, like the way light filters through thick trees on a misty morning. She wasn't standing in the spotlight, she was living in the shadows, holding herself together with threads that only someone who has faced real battle knows about. She carried decades of survival, stories of pain, of losing and finding herself in the smallest moments. Our paths crossed in a way that was both mundane and extraordinary. It wasn't just about being in the same places what seemed like all the time. It was more about witnessing how she moved through the world, how she faced her demons while still reaching for something better. You might say she was my teacher, though she never really set out to be. The lessons came quietly, in shared silences, in the steady way she kept moving forward, even when everything else threatened to fall apart. This woman is more than the sum of her struggles. She is an artist and a warrior in her own right. The art she creates isn't just on canvas, it is etched into her very being, a reflection of pain transformed into beauty. Her hands, though worn, tell stories words cannot. And behind those eyes, there's a fire that refuses to be extinguished, even when life dealt and is still dealing its harshest blows. I won't rush into giving you all the pieces just yet. Part of what makes this story worth telling is the slow reveal, like the gradual pulling back of a curtain so you can see the depth and complexity beneath. But one thing is clear. This journey is about 2 lives intertwined, walking paths both broken and hopeful, searching for freedom and peace in a world that too often forgets about people like her. So, as you listen, I invite you to look beyond the surface. There's mystery there, yes, but also a quiet power in not knowing everything right away. Because sometimes the most compelling stories are those that unfold like layered cakes, each slice revealing something new, something unexpected, and something deeply human. With that, let's take the first steps into this long, winding adventure together. She wasn't always this quiet force, though. There was a time when the world tried to break her in ways that would have shattered most. Those years filled with loss, confusion, and endless struggle, they weren't just scars to hide, but the very fabric of who she became. And while most would have given up, she chose to keep moving forward, step by step, even when the ground beneath her felt uncertain. Her life didn't unfold in neat chapters. It was a collection of fragmented moments, episodes of fierce independence, wrenching separation, and quiet battles waged in the shadows. She drifted through people and places that sought to define her, yet she never truly belonged. The loneliness she carried was heavy, a constant companion few could see or really even understand. Still, beneath it all, there was fire. Not a blazing, loud flame, but a steady heat that kept her alive through the darkest times, a pulse of resilience that refused to be snuffed out. This episode isn't about what comes next, but about the weight she carried, the silent strength she wore, and the life she survived day by day and continues to survive to this day. You might look at her if you saw her out on the streets and think that you have her figured out. Just another old woman the world wore down. Someone hunched a little bit by time with silver hair and caution in her step. But you'd be wrong. You're missing the most important part. See, she's not frail. Not really. What you're looking at is an armor. Weathered, maybe, but hard earned. And what you see is survival in its rawest form. She's lived through things most people couldn't stomach. And while the world tried to convince her she was weak, she built up her strength in silence. There's a certain type of woman you don't meet every day. Women who don't need to announce their pain or prove their worth. Women like Harriet, like Maya, like those nameless elders who carried whole generations on their backs without ever asking for recognition. She belongs to that lineage. And she doesn't wear it like a badge, but it's there, in her presence, in her patience, in her refusal to collapse. And let me be clear, this isn't some fairy tale. This isn't one of those polished, made for TV stories with a clean and shiny moral ending. No, this is grit. This is the story of someone who's still in the fight, even after the world counted her out more than once. I mentioned earlier how she moved through life like shadows, like something ancient and rooted. But to expand on that, she wasn't just surviving, she was enduring decades of abuse, silence, being overlooked, enduring sickness, loss, betrayal. But somehow she still found pieces of herself to give, to art, to love, even a piece of herself to me. There were days she couldn't stand, days she couldn't breathe without pain. Still, she cooked, she painted, and she listened. She loved people who didn't love her back. She stayed when she should have ran. And when it finally broke her, she still put herself back together. If you were lucky enough to catch her on one of those quiet moments, maybe with a paintbrush in her hand, or just staring out the window like she was watching some other world, you would have realized something that most people missed. She didn't turn her suffering into bitterness. She turned it into color, into form, into something that could speak without saying a word. That's what hits me the most. Not the trauma, though there is plenty of that. Not even the strength, though that's undeniable. It was the translation. The way she took everything meant to silence her and made it speak louder than any scream. Her art didn't come from a form of luxury or peace. It came from the fire, from the nights she spent curled in pain, whispering to herself that it would pass, from years of being told she was too much or not enough or just in the way. People look for heroes in capes. They miss the ones sitting quietly in the corner, sketching something nobody will ever see, or humming a melody too broken to record. But that's her, not a symbol or a stereotype. A human being, complex, messy, brilliant, and stubborn in the most beautiful way. When I finally realized the weight she had been carrying all of those years, it changed everything. I realized early into knowing her that she never asked to be seen. She never demanded to be understood. She just kept moving, even when it meant crawling some days. She kept loving, even when it left her bleeding. That's the kind of story that doesn't get told enough. When people see her now, they only see the surface, the strength, the grace under fire, the woman who moves like she already lived through the end of the world and made peace with it. But no one ever asks what it took to get there, because the truth is, no one ever wants to look that far down. No one ever wants to see what it costs to really become unbreakable. She wasn't always like this. There was a time she didn't know how to speak without permission. She didn't know how to breathe without apologizing for taking up space. She learned early, too early, that silence was safer than truth, that people only love you when you make yourself small enough to fit in there into their expectations. She did that. She folded herself up, neat, quiet, invisible, for as long as she could. She wasn't born strong. She was made that way by pain, pressure, and years of carrying things no one else could see. It was a reaction, an armor, the only way to survive. Most people think they know what survival looks like. They imagine running, fighting, escaping. But unfortunately, the hardest type of survival isn't loud like that. Sometimes it's just holding your breath long enough for danger to pass. It's smiling when you want to scream, or being so polite that nobody ever notices you're dying inside. She carried all of that for years, buried so deep that even she forgot where the truth ended and the performance began. But now she's finally ready to let her story surface, because there's a chance somebody sitting in the dark watching this right now, and they're thinking no one could ever understand what they're carrying. This story, her story, is for all of them. All of you watching this and thinking that. It all began in the 1950s, a time soaked in conformity, when voices were stifled and silence was mistaken for virtue. Back then, a woman wasn't just overlooked, she was expected to endure, to smile, to disappear behind the walls of a home and the weight of expectations. In one such home, tucked behind drawn curtains and secrets no one dared say aloud, a child entered the world, the firstborn of 6, 4 sisters, 1 brother. It wasn't the kind of place where laughter echoes off the walls or bedtime stories soften in the dark. No, it was a place where love came laced with conditions, kindness came with strings, protection, that was a fairy tale whispered by people who had the luxury of believing in safety. In her world, the only way to survive was to become what everyone else needed. So she did. She absorbed the harshness, the neglect, the unspoken cruelties, so her younger siblings could cling to some semblance of safety. The worst part is, it didn't stop at home. The world outside didn't have room for a girl like her. No, one who wasn't afraid to see things as they were, but to pretend otherwise, just to make it through another day. She stayed in that hell not out of weakness, but because she believed in the idea of family. Her dream was, no matter how frayed things got, they could be healed, or, at the very least, held together. As Amber got older, she came to realize that things would never change in her household. She got married right after high school, but it didn't stop there. Life for her, it wasn't just hard, it was relentless. Years passed, the burdens didn't ease, they deepened. She stayed in a situation so toxic, so all consuming that most people wouldn't last a month, let alone decades. To give you a quick idea of what she went through, the man she married was a whack job. They lasted less than a year. Now I'm going to pause here, okay? I'm going to pause here, and there's a reason why. Because I want you to think about that. Really think about that for a second. They lasted Less than a year, okay? But the craziest part is why, okay? You ready for this? You ready for why? I wanted to pause there to give you a second to prepare. Because during that half a year or that time that they lasted, right? Amber spent most of it being ridiculed, shunned, hidden, or straight up ditched states away. This is why I gave you a moment, okay? Because think about that. You are her. You get married to get out of a controlling household, right? And you're married to a man that from the beginning ridicules you, shuns you, hides you away from people, and pretty much just ditches you straight up. Like you guys go to bed and then you wake up and he's gone. Or in other cases, flip it around. You go to bed, you wake up, and she's gone. She's ditched you, states away. Who knows where? No communication. Like, that's crazy, right? I'm not the only one that thinks that's nuts, right? Like, I can't hear you, but I'm assuming people are agreeing, like, yeah, that's completely nuts. But that's not even the craziest part. After being treated for like an object for practically their entire relationship, Amber was done. So some time goes past, and she meets a charming gentleman who she believes will finally be different. As most of you can guess by now, it wasn't. What she went through with this man can only be properly told by Amber herself. But what I can say is, after many years together, excuse me, after many years together, 2 abortions. Now, hear me out here, okay? Just hear me out for a second. 2 abortions that she felt was the right thing to do, because look at everything else she's went through. She's not ready to bring a child into this world. Then some time goes past, right? Even more. She has a daughter, and she gives the daughter up for adoption because she wants to keep the daughter safe. Because she's not sure with, once again, everything she's been through in her life. Then she has a son a little bit later on, right? And that son, she finally keeps it and raises the son, except for after a short time of raising the son, the state comes in and goes, you know what? We want him, and yoinks the son away, and that's the end of that, okay? So she's been through everything she's been through. She went through one bad marriage. She had all of that stuff happen. She meets another man who turns out to be worse than her family and this first husband she had. She goes through all of this trauma, and the final thing she has is her son taken away. All right? So you guys are following me here, right? But that wasn't it. The world still was not done beating her down. Can anyone guess what the world threw at her next? Any guesses? I'll wait. Alright. A diagnosis that will turn anyone's world inside out. Cancer. Squamous cell carcinoma in the left side of her head, neck, throat, right? And tonsil area. Okay? To be exact. It forced her to confront the years she had spent pouring out every ounce of herself for everyone else. To decide, maybe for the first time, whether she wanted to beat this and really live or give up and pass on. The surgeries were brutal, the odds were worse. 3 times her heart stopped. 3 times the world tried to let her go. And 3 times she said no. She came back from the brink, from flat lines and final prayers. Not because she wasn't ready to die, but because she finally realized she hadn't really lived. But the most painful part of this story is yet to come, okay? It's what came after she survived all that. Even after beating death, she found herself trapped in the same place with the same narcissistic, controlling, abusive, and completely deranged man she called her second husband. Nothing had changed. Not really. And no one saw it. They saw the survival, the grace, the patience, and a woman who had made peace with everything, but they never saw the cost. When I came back into her life, I thought I knew what I was walking into. I didn't. The truth was, she had already spent over 38 years inside a situation that drained her soul every single day. She stayed because she thought she had to, because sacrifice was second nature. But eventually, finally, something shifted. One day, she called me asking for help. Not with just moving furniture or filing paperwork, but help getting out. Help stepping away from the pain so she could begin to rewrite her story with quiet determination and the kind of courage that doesn't get celebrated. She began anew. For most, it was too raw, too real, and too uncomfortable to look at, let alone go through at her age. But there she was, standing next to me, bags in hand, walking tall and free into the unknown. And that was 6 years ago. Since then, we've hit rock bottom more than once. We've fought through systems built to fail people like her. We've faced judgment, poverty, illness, isolation. But we're still here. More importantly, she's still here. Though now, for the first time, the mask is off. To be clear, this is not about pointing fingers or wallowing in the past. This is about the truth. And setting the record straight for every soul who has ever been told to stay quiet, to shrink, to disappear. It's her story told her way, on her terms, finally coming to the surface, not for attention, but for liberation. And let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself sitting in a room full of people, family, friends, maybe even strangers, and suddenly you drifted into thought? Not just idle daydream, but the kind that sneaks up on you when life goes quiet. You start tracing back your every step, wondering how you drifted from the dreams you once had as a child, how you ended up here, weighed down by obligations, boxed in by systems that never cared about your story, your scars, or your soul. You start thinking that you know what the rest of your life looks like. You follow the rules like everyone else. Go to school, or maybe clock in, pay the bills, raise the kids, smile when you're supposed to, be kind even when no one's kind to you. But then one morning you wake up and it hits you. You've been living someone else's vision of the world. A version where survival is the ceiling, not the floor. And that's when the real question sets in. What if we stop playing by their rules altogether? What if we choose a life of our own making? That's how it was for us. It all started with the reality. Of what was happening around us. The economy in the area was taking a toll. Rent kept rising, and we tried to hold on. The cost just became too much to bear. To make matters worse, the voucher that once helped cover some of the rent was gone. Not because anything we did, but because the property manager at her old apartment didn't follow protocol. And HUD even admitted it was their fault. But here's the thing about bureaucracy, right? They said she still had to reapply and wait. Wait for a system that could take years to process her back in. And by then, who knows where she would be. That's when it became undeniable That's when it became undeniable that we'd hit a wall. Something had to give. It was about survival on a whole new level. One option we explored was something most people have to consider with, seniors they have in their care. It was a nursing home, right? The responsible thing to do. So we started researching it, calling around, getting familiar with what kind of move that would mean. And on paper, it seemed like a solution. But once we dug deeper, what we found disturbed us to our core. Here's the thing about nursing homes. We looked into the contracts, the fees, and the services they offered. And the whole thing didn't sit right with us. The rules were rigid. The costs were unacceptable. Let me pause here and explain what I mean by unacceptable. Picture this. You got a loved one, a family member, right? Or a good friend, or even a neighbor, right? And you want to help them out. Put them into a nursing home because you heard that that's the right thing to do. And then when you do a little bit of research, you hear things like, oh, some nursing homes aren't good, so make sure to do your research on everything. You decide to start doing your research on everything. And then you find out what we find out when you dig deep enough, which is that they'll take the person who's going to be in the nursing home. They'll take their pension. They'll take their SSDI. They'll take their SSI, whatever it is, and only leave them with $90 for what they call allowance. And if you have a power of attorney, it could be up to $120 for allowance, and that's per month, with no freedoms. So that was crazy to us, And worst of all, the thought of her becoming just another file in a cabinet, another patient on rotation, someone talked about instead of spoken to, was unbearable. After everything she endured, she deserved better than institutional silence. So she asked the question that mattered. If the system wasn't going to give her dignity, then how do we take it back for ourselves? That's when it hit us. We're going to go nomadic. It isn't what we expected, but in some ways it was a perfect fit. We had a chance now, an opportunity to live on our terms. No more waiting for a system that was failing us. No more being stuck in places we couldn't afford, waiting for things to get better. The road is ahead of us, and we're not just going to survive anymore. We're going to truly start living. So this is about her final years being exactly that, hers. No more monitored, not micromanaged, not locked away in some area behind some doors labeled policy or labeled patient. Out here, it's just about her. The wind, the road, the fire, the cold, the beauty, the hardship, it's all real and it's all worth it. I know some people won't understand. They'll say it's too dangerous, too uncertain, too extreme. But we've done the research. We've weighed the risks. And at the end of the day, we chose what offers peace, real peace, not just comfort, but dignity, autonomy, presence. It's not going to be easy, yeah, we know that. But we won't be alone. We've got each other, and we've got you. Because this journey isn't just ours, it's yours too. If you're watching this, if you've ever felt caged in by the systems or forgotten by society, then maybe, just maybe, this path is for you as well. And now, here's where the story deepens. Because everything that you've heard up to this point, it's been through my eyes, my voice. But the truth doesn't belong to me. It belongs to her. That strength, that silence, that fire that refused to go out. Now it finally speaks. Today, for the first time, Amberheart steps forward, not just as the soul of the story, but as its voice. Some of you may have already guessed. The reverence of how I speak of her, the depth of our bond. It wasn't accidental. If you guess she's my mother, well, congratulations. You're right. She is. Now, before I bring her forward, though, there is one thing I need to let you know. What you're about to hear are her words, spoken her way, but she's not a performer. She's not a speaker. Half her throat was removed in surgery. Speaking is difficult, but it's her story, and it demanded to be told. So, to make this possible, I wrote her words down. Sorry. To make this possible, I wrote her words down, exactly as she wanted them said. This isn't polished, but it's the truth in its rawest form, spoken through struggle, offered in courage, and delivered in her voice. So, as we cross this threshold together, I ask you to listen, not just with your ears or watch with your eyes, but absorb this leg of the journey with your heart. Without further ado, here's Amberheart. Okay, so we're going to pause the video right here for a second because while I was editing this, I realized that I left something out, which is an explanation. So here's what you're going to see when the video continues, is me reading out from my mother's phone exactly word for word what she was going to come onto the video and tell you guys. Now the reason for this is because we spent 3 hours doing take after take after take after take. She kept trying, was more determined, getting there, but her throat, because of the surgery, it was irritating her. The air quality on this day when this was recorded was actually really bad, and it was getting hotter and hotter. I believe I said at the time when I recorded this, it was like getting up to 95 degrees on that day. We didn't have the fan on so that you could hear us better. We had the studio lights going in the background so that you could see the paintings that were up. So unfortunately, when I continue it, it's going to be me reading it out from her phone, unfiltered, real and raw, and just right there. So with that, let's continue the video. Okay, so this is what she said word for word, or what she wrote that she was going to say word for word. Hi, this is my first time doing something like this, so thank you for being here. Really, it means more than I can put into words. I'm not used to cameras, or lights, or being the one people are actually listening to. But my son said it was time for me to speak, to share, and I guess he's right. With that, welcome to my little corner of this big, messy, beautiful life we're trying to live out loud. I hope what I say means something to someone out there, even if it's just one person. So, who am I? That's a question I've been asking That's a question I've been asked more times than I can count. And honestly, it's not an easy one to answer. I'm Amberheart, the name I carry, the name I own. But who is Amberheart beneath all the labels and stories people tell? I'm a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a mother. I swear, I wear those roles like layers of my skin. Some days they feel heavy. Some days they remind me why I keep going. I'm also a survivor, a cancer survivor. That fight shaped me, changed me in ways I'm still learning to understand. But beyond all that, I'm an individual, a woman with a spirit that's stubborn, quiet, and maybe a little wild. People often tell me I'm an inspiration. They say I'm strong, determined, that I've overcome so much. While I appreciate those words, I don't always believe them. Not all the time, because there are moments where I'm scared, when I'm tired, when I don't think much of myself at all. And that's the truth. And that's the truth no one always sees. You know, guys, while reading this, for the first time I'm actually going to take my glasses off, because I cannot see the screen at all while trying to read this. So, where was I? Yes. I come from a long line of warriors. Mohawk, Iroquois, and French roots run deep in me. That heritage is part of who I am, carrying the stories of those who came before. There's strength and there's pain. It's a legacy I'm proud of, but it's also a quiet weight I carry. It reminds me to be patient, to be kind, to keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. At times, I still feel like a child, curious, hopeful, dreaming. Even at 68, I want to explore, to see new places, to find new parts of myself out there on this journey. I want to be the matriarch of my family, the one who holds us together, who heals and loves fiercely, and that dream, that hope, it keeps me going. That's me, just a woman who's lived a long, hard life and is still learning what it means to truly be alive. You've heard the pieces of my story already. My son shared what he could in the first few episodes. He's good at that, sharing just enough to honor the truth while still protecting the people he loves. And out of respect for him and for myself, I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. Not just yet. Some things still hurt too much. Some things still sit like thorns on the soul. Not everything not everything's ready to be spoken out loud. But what I can tell you, what I want to share, is the moment everything changed for me. The moment I finally felt like I was alive again. It was the day my son came home. I had been waiting for years, hoping, praying, crying in silence, wishing one day he'd walk through that door. That day would come when I wouldn't have to fight anymore. That the day would come when I wouldn't have to fight alone anymore. Excuse me for that. Um, and when it did come, when he stepped off that bus and I looked into his eyes, I saw strength. I saw a fire in him I hadn't seen since he was a little boy. That's where my story begins. Okay, so since I'm actually the one reading this, you guys get a little insight into this. So here's the deal. I actually came off a Greyhound bus. You know, my bags were ready. I was holding them in my arms or in my hands, and I was looking around. Now, I knew kind of who I was looking for because they had sent me photos of what she looks like now and what my denounced father. Okay, so he's actually not part of the family heritage or lineage anymore. Like he's blood, obviously he's recognized, but he's done so many things, as you've heard, and you will continue to hear in her words, that yeah, he's father by blood, but that's it. So yeah, I was looking around for them, and when I saw them at the time, my demeanor was kind of standoffish because I had went through a lot, and I guess she's referencing that as far as the strength and everything, because I had gotten off the bus. I was holding rigid, back straight, bags at my sides, and I was just walking like a soldier would walk. And I walked right up to them. But the minute that I verified and recognized it was them, I dropped my bags and just wrapped her in a huge hug. So, yeah. Continuing on with that, though. Actually, give me one moment. I need to get something to drink really quick. My mouth is extremely dry. It is so hot in here. It's ridiculous. So, give me 1 second. Okay. So where was I? Okay. So I was living with his father then in a 2-bedroom apartment. Nice on paper, but when you walked in, it was packed to the brim with the past. Boxes and bins, his grandmother's things, old memories stuffed in corners. That place felt more like a storage unit than a home. But even that wasn't the worst of it. Sorry for me messing that up. His father was controlling in every sense of the word, and if you know what I mean, then you're probably not far off. Not the worst of the worst. I wouldn't be sitting here if he had gone that far, but at times it came close to that level. It was bad enough that I lost myself in the silence, in the control, in the stillness of the way of always being not enough. I'm sorry I keep messing up so much, guys. Like, this is my mother's words, her story in her own way, and it's hard for me to. It's really hard for me to read this, so I can completely understand why it was hard for her to try and record this. Um, So I apologize and thank all of you for bearing with me on that. Anyways, let's continue. My son had come home, but he couldn't stay. Not in that place. Not in the way his father was. He moved out that same year. I stayed for a year, maybe two. Kept surviving like I had for the last 45 years until one day his father snapped. To put it bluntly, it wasn't a water gun pressed to my temple. That was the end of it. So, to explain that a little bit, I actually came home and I had come home to a lie. He had lied to me and said that well, he said we were very wealthy. He said that I had a job waiting for me, and he said we had a nice place. And instead, I came home to this place that was a two-bedroom apartment filled with the past, like she said, filled with my grandmother's boxes of paperwork and totes and his stuff and my mom's stuff. And so it was like, it was just really cluttered. I wouldn't say hoarded because it was, stuff from our family that he was still sorting through and they were still sorting through, but it was definitely cluttered. There's a whole backstory to why it was like that, and I found out later, but I just felt deceived, and then the hostility of the environment. Yeah, I couldn't stay for very long, so I moved out. And that was that. So to explain the whole, as she put it, not a water gun incident, I'm continuing on with her words. This is not mine. This is me reading hers. Um, I made the call no mother ever wanted to make. Told my son to come get me. Told him to take everything I could carry. He was across the city dealing with something important for his health, but the second I made that call, he dropped everything. In half an hour, he crossed what it would have taken most people 2 hours on foot. When he showed up, I had to calm him down and stop him from earning himself another nice pair of shiny bracelets, if you know what I mean. Okay, come on, Ma. Really nice way to put that. But yeah, she actually did. I was so hot-headed, I was seeing red at the time, and I probably would have done something stupid if it wasn't for her, because don't touch my mother like that. Like, what are you doing? So, to continue on, oh my gosh. So she goes on to say, but what can I say? He's a mama's boy in all the best ways. Like I said, I'm going to keep it real and raw. I'm not going to filter anything out, and these are her words. So, hey, yeah, she's embarrassing me, and I guess I'm embarrassing myself by saying this, but it is what it is, right? So let's continue. 6 years have passed since that day. 6 years of trying to build a life from scratch. My son, he's chased every dream he had. Restaurants, wine, fashion, music, podcasts, even a video game. And yeah, I had a couple other ventures that I was doing, like something I'm still doing, which is writing, and a few other crafts that I never got off the ground, so there's really no point in mentioning them. But yeah, at one point he was getting ready to run for alderman, aiming one day to become president, and I believe he would have done it. He still might. Thanks, Ma. I really appreciate those words. Yeah, I was planning to run for alderman of the Ninth Ward here in my city, and then eventually go from there to mayor, governor, and president. I figured since the current president we have is in the situation he's in, and due to my past young, in love, and stupid nature, I seem to have caught myself a few of those and thought that my political career to becoming president and actually putting my dreams into order with uniting, not only the nation but globally, was completely amiss until the current reigning president. So, where was I? Okay, so she goes on to say, and I'll continue. But now he's helping my sister write her book. Yeah, I'm helping one of my aunts write her book. It's a story about what she went through in her life. It's actually like a biography documentary type of story. I don't really know how to put it. So that's something I'm doing now because I've stopped all the other ventures. I've stopped the music, the fashion, the art. She stopped doing her art, because the nomadic style, as you could see, she's very good at it. And we have an online gallery. I just shut it down for now because there's no point in keeping it up if nobody can buy anything, because we have to like pay for the subscription so that we can open up for everybody to be able to pay and do all of like the processing and everything like that. And right now we just can't afford to do that, so figured there's no point in keeping it up. I mean, we're going to get it back up one day, but we figured right now with everything. Ooh, excuse me, that burp came out of nowhere. I apologize, guys. um but we figured just shut it down, store everything. And I'm still writing my books, plural, and I'm helping my aunt do her book, as well as like, no, well, I see she goes on to talk about all that, so let me just continue. Um, all while doing everything to prepare for our nomadic lifestyle. So that's what I was just about to say. And then we'll keep on with what she says. So, me, I've been an artist for most of my life, not professional or anything, but as a passion. Through all the hardship, I kept painting, creating, teaching, hoping, and doing what I could with what little I had, trying to keep a little bit of light burning. But we had been doing it alone. No funding, no steady support, just my SSI and the will to survive. So yeah, she's disabled and she has SSI, but it's barely anything to do. Well, let me just keep reading on and see what she covers, and then at the end I'll comment on anything instead of constantly interrupting like this. So just my SSI and the will to survive. Now here we are. Everything around us was collapsing, still is in a way. This place we are staying now, it's not even my son's name. It's under the roommates and the building, the city, the system. It's all a mess. I won't even get into it, but it became clear we were running out of time. We started looking into nursing homes. I didn't want to hold him back any longer. He deserved a life, a future, a chance to breathe, maybe get married again, maybe reconnect with his daughter. Oh, wow, Ma. Thanks. Um, yeah. Let's just keep going. Personally, I just wanted somewhere safe, peaceful, a place where I could paint without worrying about how I'd eat the next week. But when he really started digging, laid out all the numbers, all the truth, it hit me like a brick. Nursing homes became a fear more than a hope by the end. I would have lost what little income I had, been trapped in a system that does not care, and left completely unable to help my family. I already lived that life once before after my cancer surgery when my son hadn't come back yet. Uh, wait, I already lived that life once before after my cancer surgery when my son hadn't come back. I didn't know that. So that's new to me. Wow. Okay. Let's just keep going and get through this. I wasn't about to go down that road again. Those were my choices, caged or cast out, until he came up with something else on the spot, like he always does. Yeah, I'm really good at coming up with solutions on the fly because my life is so fluid that I have to just do that. Anyways, that's my little problem solver. Okay, come on, Mom, really? Where was I? Yes, that's right. The third option. She really wrote that. Where was I? Yes, right, the third option. She must have literally lost track while writing this. That's mama for you. Okay. So he said, or you can come with me. We hit the road. We become nomads. We build a life that's ours, on our terms. You get to travel, meet your siblings, see places you've never seen, and I'll take care of you. I said yes after much debate and reservation. My reasoning was simple. I've been sheltered my whole life. Boston, California, Chicago, just bouncing between the coast and the corners, stuck in other people's plans for me. For once it all clicked. I saw that this is my only for me, once it all clicked, I saw this was my only option. Um, yeah, she has definitely been sheltered from what I know and what she's told me um, about her life. Anyways, let's let me make something crystal clear. When I say this was the only option, people always think it's just a figure of speech. No, and she wrote no in capitals. I mean that literally. I tried everything else. I really did. When this whole ordeal started a few months back, I told myself, okay, I'll go to a nursing home. At least then I have a roof, meals, medical care, and I won't be a bother to my son any longer. A place where all of my needs are met and I'm safe. I figured this time, excuse me, I figured this time might be different with Voidkeeper by my side. But have you actually seen those places? Really looked? My son did. Yes, I did. He dug into everything for each potential facility. Reputation, policies, operating protocols, programs, staff history down to the shift change schedules, civil and criminal cases, financial history since their founding date. And yeah, I did a whole lot more than that, but I think she just didn't want to drone on. I did top to bottom research. Do you think there's dignity there? This is what she's writing. Do you think there's dignity there? To put it bluntly, there is not. Even the best ones in America have their dirty secrets. I've survived things I don't even want to talk about, and now what? I'm supposed to just fade out into some cold hallway with fluorescent lights where people forget my name? While somehow through government laws they can literally take, they can legally take every dollar I have except at most 120 a month. I want peace, not prison. Then I thought, okay, maybe I'll rent a room, find a little space, something manageable. But Voidkeeper, he sat me down line by line. SSI, I get less than 1,000 a month. Rent for a studio in Chicago starts at 1,200. That's before food, medication, transportation, clothing, even toilet paper. You do the math. It doesn't work. It's not broken. It's rigged. Next, I said maybe a shelter. That was the hardest for me because that was me admitting I have nothing left. That I'm back at the bottom. Okay. Give me a second, guys. That was the hardest one because that's me admitting I have nothing left, that I'm back at the bottom. Here's what people don't understand about shelters, though. They don't stay temporary. Not when you're 68 and have a medical history like mine. Eventually, the system steps in. They move you to a facility that you don't get to decide anymore. He never yelled, never pressured. She's talking about me here. He never yelled, never pressured. He just showed me. He laid out the road and said, you've got one path left, Ma, and it's the one where I'm still by your side. I fought it tooth and nail, told him he deserved more. Get this. His response, and yeah, I actually did say this. This is more. You living, not dying in the corner of some room all doped up, drooling on yourself, not knowing who I am, let alone who you are. You paint, laugh. You painting, laughing, being wild and free for the first time in your life. That's worth more than any dollar I'll ever make. Yeah, I did say that. I didn't know she was going to write it like that, but basically, yeah, that was the gist of what I said. So to continue with what she wrote. And that hit me because I've spent my whole life caring for others, putting myself last, yet here's my son. giving me a way forward, sacrificing everything time and time again for a woman who doesn't even think she deserves it. The crazy part is, unlike others who have helped me out of pity, he's helping me out of purpose. So I chose the road, I chose the wild, and if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out painting the sunset from the side of a mountain, not hooked up to some machine in a place where no one knows my name. You know, this part, it's the hardest for me. Not the walking, not the pain, not even the unknown. It's this, talking, letting you in, putting myself out there, real, raw, and unfiltered. And by the way, guys, if you think this is an act, look. Look at my skin. I don't know if you could see it, but I got goosebumps. Like, I got legitimate goosebumps while reading this. I'm sorry if the camera couldn't pick it up or if it was too dark, but yeah, like seriously. Um, I've spent most of my life invisible, not by choice, but because the world made me feel that way. My body was sick, my mind is exhausted, my heart is battered to pieces, yet now at 68 I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm stepping out into the wild with nothing but my son, a backpack, and a prayer. We're starting from the bottom of Illinois. This is where the trail begins, and maybe where I begin again, too. I took everything I had to say yes to this. I've never done this before, not like this. Sure, I've been homeless. Once in a van, once in a tiny apartment in some dingy neighborhood. Yeah, she lived in a van for 2 years with my father, and there was like, I can't remember if there's stalactites or stalagmites, the icicles that hang above, but yeah, those were actually on the inside of the van. What was that? Probably fireworks or something around the neighborhood. Anyways, so she literally had to like chip them off from the inside of the van and like throw them out during the winter and like huddle up with coats and blankets and other stuff on them. It was bad. So where was I? Um, but hiking, sleeping under the stars, carrying 40 pounds on my back, even with fibromyalgia, this is a whole different story and I'm scared. So yeah, to explain why she said 40 pounds, we talked to her doctor and I figured out with her that the most she'll be able to do without severely like getting extremely tired or hurting herself would be 40 pounds because of her height and her conditions and everything. But if she keeps it to that, then she can easily go on this. And there's another part to that, which is only 5 miles a day. So yes, it will be a slow trek, but it's for her. This whole thing is for her to give her the best life. So why would we risk and jeopardize her health by pushing it farther than what the doctors say we can do? So to continue, I'm so scared, not for the animals or the hunger or even the pain. I've dealt with worse. I lived through worse. What scares me is being seen, being vulnerable, messing up and failing my son again. People don't talk about what it's like to start over when your body's already tired, when you've buried the version of yourself that used to dream. And now I have to find something new to live for and to fight for. This YouTube channel, these videos, they aren't for fame. They're not for clicks. They're for me, proving I'm still alive, that I still matter. It's hard for me to connect, always has been. I've been quiet most of my life, not because I don't have things to say, but because no one ever listened. Now I'm putting my face on a screen. Well, she was going to when she wrote this. So just know that with this part of now I'm putting my face on a screen. So let's continue. Letting strangers see every wrinkle, every truth, every piece of me that I've hidden for decades. But this is the journey. This is what the road demands. Not just survival, transformation, letting go of shame, of silence, of the idea that my story is over. I don't know what's waiting out there. I don't know how my body is going to hold up, but I do know this. I'd rather take my last breath on the trail, painting the horizon, than fade away in a place that never saw me. So yeah, this is hard, but it's mine. We don't excuse me, we didn't come here to sugarcoat anything. This isn't entertainment for the sake of entertainment. It's the real life, the past. It doesn't just fade away on its own. You've got to face it. That's what I'm doing here with all of you, opening up, unlearning silence, and stepping into something I've never done before. And like I said, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I've got actual, the latest too bad, I've got actual goosebumps from that. And that is, in fact, like the end of it. Today, she's here. She'll sit here, cross-legged and silent, eyes closed, working on her mantras with her mala beads while I speak. She won't say a word because she doesn't need to. Her presence alone is the lesson that sometimes the greatest truths are shown, not spoken. And here's what I'm going to be doing, right? I'm going to be taking Amberheart and my lives, using it as examples because the only stories you really know inside and out are your own. We're going to walk through the 7 steps of enlightenment using snippets and quotes from episodes 1 through 4 tied to each step. Here at the beginning of our path, we find the first step, not a step of action, but a step of awakening. The ancient ones call it sati, mindfulness, the vigilant guardian of the present moment. In this life, most walk through shadows of distraction, chasing the past or grasping for the future, never touching the sacred now. But to be mindful is to awaken from this sleep. It is to hold the breath, the heartbeat, the very pulse of existence with unwavering attention. This mindfulness is not mere observation. It is the ancient art of presence, steady at the mountain, calm as the still lake. It is the quiet witness that sees the flicker of pain, the joy, the fear, and meets it without flinching, without clenching, without pushing away. Remember, the body and the mind are one temple. To cultivate mindfulness is to sit with the body upright, breath flowing, hands resting like gentle rivers on the knees. It is in this posture that the mind finds its calm clarity. Amber's presence here reminds us this is not posture for show, but a vessel for truth. When the storm of suffering arises, mindfulness is the refuge that does not escape the storm, but stands within it, like the ancient warriors who, unshaken, hold their ground. In this sacred awareness, we find the power to see beyond illusion, to understand that all pain is a messenger guiding us towards liberation. The first step of the 7 is the root of all awakening. Without mindfulness, the journey is lost to the winds of distraction and desire. With it, even the darkest night in its path towards dawn. So breathe deeply, settle the body quiet and the mind. From the stillness of mindful presence, our path leads to the light of Dharma, the investigation of reality, the deep inquiry into the nature of all things. It is not enough, to simply be present. We must look with eyes unclouded to see the world as it truly is, not as we wish to be, nor as fear or hope would paint it. This step is the sharpening of the inner eye, the turning of the lamp towards the hidden corners of our own hearts and the vastness beyond. In the silence cultivated by mindfulness, questions arise. What is suffering? What is importance? What is the self that clings so desperately, yet slips like water through the fingers? This investigation is a warrior's quest. not one of conquest over others, but conquest over ignorance. Like the hermit who sits on the mountain's edge, watching the clouds drift by, we observe the rise and the fall of thoughts, the coming and going of emotions, and the subtle weave of cause and effect. Here, the teachings are not just read, they are lived. Each moment becomes a lesson, each breath is scripture. The truths discovered may not always comfort, but they often reveal the illusions that blind us. Yet, through this courage, seeing liberations begin, we learn that the self is not a fixed fortress, but a river in a constant flow, that pain is transient and joy impermanent. With this wisdom, the chains loosen. Amber's quiet strength, seen in the gentle way she holds herself, embodies this inquiry. Steadfast, patient, yet ever curious. We are invited to meet life with the same fearless openness, to embrace questions without rushing to answers, and to find freedom not in certainty, but in the unfolding mystery. This is the second step of awakening, the clear, unblinking investigation that dissolves illusion and brings us closer to truth. From seeing clearly, the traveler gathers strength. The third quality, energy. This is not the restless vigor of untrained mind, nor the desperate thrashing of fear. True energy arises quietly, like the dawn that needs no trumpet to herald its coming. It is the steadfast fire that warms the hermit's cave and that lights the pilgrim's way. Once we are mindful, once we see truth as it is, then this noble energy is born naturally. It is the resolve to continue walking, even when the path is steep and the bones ache. It is the whisper that says, stand up again, through the world was once seen. It is the whisper that says, stand up again, though the world would see you kneel. Many confuse efforts with struggle, but a wise one knows that right energy is balanced. Too much and the flame burns the house. Too little and the darkness returns. So we kindle it daily, with kind deeds, with honest speech, with compassionate thoughts. If you have watched our past, the silent battles fought behind, gentle eyes, the closing of life, when surrender seems easier. When you have seen the energy in its purest form, it does not boast, it does not rage, it simply endures, again and again, like water carving stone. This is the third milestone on our shared trial, the noble energy that sustains all true awakening. Cultivate it, and the cold winds lose their bite. Now, as we reach the summit, the fourth quality reveals itself, the rapture, or joy. It is not the shallow joy of fleeting pleasures, nor the careless laughter of the unmoored. This joy is deeper, the joy that rises when the breath is steady, the mind is clear, and the heart knows peace. It is the bloom of the mountain flower, fragile yet radiant, nourished by the long climb and the thin air. At this peak, one can pause, feeling the vastness around, the endless sky above, the valleys far below. Here, joy arises naturally from the knowing that despite the hardship, despite the struggle, we have arrived. Not at an end, but at a moment of truth. This joy is quiet in its celebration of endurance, and the gentle smile that greets each dawn, the gratitude for the path itself, even when it's steep and unforgiving. It is the fruit of mindful energy, the reward of every step taken in sincerity. Look back and see. in the faces of those who walk beside you, the silent warriors and the wanderers. This joy is shared. It is not loud, but it is contagious. Carry the strength to inspire the next step, the next journey. Feel the rapture that is not separate from the path, but born from it. This is the heart's reward, the spirit's song at the highest place we have reached together. Let us rest at this summit beneath the vast sky, where the winds carry all our trials and the trumpets alike. Close your eyes with me for a moment, and then let the world dissolve. The pain, the struggle, the stories we cling to. Feel the silence between your breaths. Let it expand, spacious and gentle, like the mountain air itself. Here, in this quiet, the joy we spoke of does not rush or fade. It simply is. In this stillness, we see clarity, the path behind, the path ahead, and the path within. We honor the climb, we honor the moment, and we prepare for the descent, where tranquility awaits. Now, dear travelers, our feet turn from the high peak towards the gentle slope that carries us homeward. We have tested the rare air, where joy bursts forth like sunlight. Now, as we descend, we allow that brightness to settle deep within to our marrow, transmuted into tranquil ease. Tranquility is the grace of each step placed without hurry. It is the quiet trust that the mountain does not chase us, nor do we chase the valley below. We simply walk, unburdened by the haste, unshaken by the echoes left behind. Feel each breath slow and spacious, like wind slipping through pine groves. Let your shoulders soften, your heart beat steady. In the calm descent, we discover that true tranquility is not found atop distant heights, but carried gently in the soles of our feet. Wherever they touch, this is fleeting earth. Walk on, dear pilgrims. Each stone, each breeze, each sigh of your spirit now belongs to the hush of the mountain's secret heart. As we continue our descent from the mountain's quiet peak, the air grows gentle and the earth beneath our feet reminds us every step down must be taken within the same care as when we climb up. The stillness and the passaddie we nurture at the summit accompany us like an old friend, soften our breath, calming the restless chatter of the mind. The path narrows, in places twisting among stones and roots that once would have startled our focus. Yet now, our eyes remain steady, our mind unhurried. This is where we cultivate concentration, the sixth jewel along this sacred trail. It is here, amidst descent and unexpected bend, that we learn the true art of undivided attention. To concentrate is not to force the mind into rigid silence. Rather, it is to let it teach through thought and go without catching it by the tail. It is to see each sound, each sight, each sensation arise and dissolve like clouds drifting across the endless sky. The mountain shows us the higher our awareness climbs, the deeper our roots must sink into the present moment. Let this walk be your training ground. Each step upon soft soil or sharp stone is an invitation to remain here. Just here, not longing for the moment above, nor anxious for the valley below. The trees whisper their secrets, that the mind which holds itself lightly holds everything with clarity. With samadhi, we see that the distractions that once shattered our spirit are now the very reminders to return home, again and again, to the breath, to the heartbeat, to the firm touch of the earth beneath bare feet. In this state, a single thought shines like a lantern in the dusk, illuminating the way, steadying the descent and dissolving confusion before it takes root. And so, we keep moving slowly, graciously, halfway down the mountain, gathering this quiet strength inside. No gust of wind nor slip of the fort can steal away this calm center. This, my fellow wanderers, is the blessing of Samadhi, to live each step as it were the only one, and to find in peace that no height nor depth can undo. As the path winds gently downward, and the first light of civilization begins to flicker ahead, you approach the threshold where the mountain solitude meets the pulse of everyday life. This final leg is no less sacred, for it carries us beyond the journey itself, back into the world we thought we knew, yet now seeing through new eyes. Here lies the essence of equanimity, the seventh and ultimate balance. It is the art of holding joy and sorrow with equal grace, meeting praise and blame without losing the calm center that we cultivated far above. Equanimity teaches us that life lessons shift, and within this flux our heart remains steady like the ancient mountain stone. This is great liberation, to walk through the marketplace of existence, the noise and the haste, without being tossed by every gust of fortune or misfortune, to see the world's myriad colors without attachment, and to respond from a place untouched by the extremes of desire or aversion. As you step off this trail, carrying the wisdom of mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity, remember this. These seven factors are not destinations, but companions. They do not vanish with the journey's end, but become the foundation of every moment, every breath, every encounter. Return now to your daily life, not as one who has escaped, but as one who walks fully awake. Each step a story, each story a path forward. Let the mountain lessons echo in your actions, your words, and your heart. You are both traveler and home seeker and guide. And so, with this balance, this openness, and this groundness, you carry the path within, forever walking, forever becoming. Alright, so that was deep, wasn't it? Not your typical YouTube ramble, but this is our life. Honest, raw, and exactly as it unfolds. No filter. Now, like I promised, let's switch gears and hit some questions you're probably already asking in your heads. These are the ones that we knew you'd come up with before the comment section even had a chance. So, let's see what we got here. Alright. We wrote this stuff down because, like I said in episode 4, it's easier for Amber to be able to read it and, well, let's just get into it. Alright. Why are you doing this? Well, we've touched on this before. Let's hammer this home. Survival, plain and simple. I mean, right? The system is rigged. We're broke. We have nothing besides the packs on our backs and the road ahead of us. So we figured, 1, we have to go nomadic anyways. And 2, why not just share the journey with everybody? Get other people inspired. Lift other people out of any slums that they have. So that's why we're doing this. Alright, is it safe for Amberheart? Well,
as long as I'm with him, yeah, I think it's going to be safe. It's my first time, but I think he's done it a couple of times.
Yeah, I have. Well, let's flip this on its head for a second. With staying put safe, with mold, neglect, and other things that'll kill you faster than the winter chill will. I mean, no, that wasn't. So, realistically, this was our only option. Let's see. What gear are we bringing? Well, you'll see that in episodes 8 through 10. Actually, correction, 8 through 9. Okay, so those two. Um, in episode 8, you're probably going to see us do like the grocery shopping part and the packing of the food and everything, or preparing of it, sorting it out, banging it into different baggies so that we don't have boxes and overloaded things like that. And episode 9, you'll see us actually packing everything up. So that's how it's going to work. Let's see. How can people support you? Well, you want to take it away?
Well, by sharing with other people so they experience the same things that we go through. And if you want, you can make a donation to podcasts.
No, to the Patreon and to the GoFundMe. But yeah, she's right. Number one is share this story out as much as possible, because the more people that hear it, the more our word will get spread, and the more likely we are to get the aid and assistance that we need. Also, it's like we keep saying, it's about the viewers. It's about you guys. So if anybody out there is in a slump and needs to be pulled out, or just wants to do like the nomadic lifestyle, or wants to learn about refurbishing of houses, or botany and herbalism and flora and fauna, that's like your specialty, or art, that's another thing.
Creativity.
Yeah, just being creative in general. What happens if something goes wrong? Well, we adapt. We fall back, we shift plans, we do whatever we need to. If we gotta retrace our steps, I know what you guys are probably going to ask. Okay, what if she gets injured or something like that? Well, we have full kits for all of that, and if I have to, I'll drop everything on my back, put everything we need to survival on hers, and then I'll just pick her up and carry her until we can get assistance, like real talk.
And it's not like it's gonna be my first time.
Well, it is. I mean, it's not your first time being homeless, that's true. But it's your first time choosing to do the nomadic lifestyle where you're living out of your back and you have to tent around and build shelters. So it's kind of half and half there. Are we filming everything on our phone?
Well, yeah, we're gonna be filming everything live.
Well, not. I mean, yeah, we're going to be filming it live, but then you're going to see the video after it's all edited. So, yeah, we'll be filming everything on the phone because I don't have a hard case and enough space in my pack to bring my laptop. So that's going to be stored away. And pretty much it's just off of these two. That's it. Where do we sleep? That's one you can definitely answer.
In the tent.
But we're in the tent.
Wherever Mother Nature provides us.
I couldn't have said it better myself. What do we eat? Well, food is your territory, but I could say a couple of things like rice, oats, dried protein. You already know we've got the gear for like hunting and fishing, so we'll be doing that. And then Mama, you're the forager. You're the specialist on that stuff.
Whatever is healthy as far as berries or herbs.
Yeah, like wild onions, or like if we could find like wild greens or lettuce or
thistles.
Yeah, I mean, you make one heck of a dandelion salad. What is it? You use the thistle part for, or not the thistle part, but like the
flower.
Yeah, you use that part for the salad, and then I think you use the stem for like a tea or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, how do we stay clean? Soap and water, maybe. Sometimes shampoo. Once in a while, conditioner. And if we're really lucky, we get some deodorant and body spray. No, all jokes aside though, how do we stay clean? You're good. You're good. No worries.
Either
Everybody knows your
lakes,
condition.
rivers, or washrooms wherever available.
I'm sorry, I was talking and they couldn't pick it up. Could you say that again?
I said lakes, rivers, or washrooms wherever available.
Yeah,
And if necessary, I can take sponge baths.
true. Or, well, sponge baths with like the wet wipes and stuff too, right? Because I mean, those are hygienic. So why don't you give that tip about like when you're out there? If you have nothing else, like if you got no water, you got no soap, you got nothing, but you just got like the wet wipes.
Wet wipes or baby wipes or feminine wipes.
Yeah. And at most, if you have absolutely nothing else and you really do need to clean up, you could use those makeup remover wipes too, right? So, there's that. How do we charge our gear?
Solar.
The sun.
Solar.
Yeah, we've got 3 different solar chargers. So if one breaks, we got 2 backups. And if the second one breaks, then I'm just going to go and buy more before the third one is kaput. So we'll always be out there. Here, why don't you say that one? Question 11.
Let me put my second pair of eyeballs on.
Yeah, go ahead. Make sure you got all 6 eyes. Question 11.
Are you armed? That's for you.
Sure you want me to take this one?
That's for you.
Yeah. We've got the bow and arrow. We've got a couple of walking stiffs.
Say that again.
We've got a couple of walking staffs that also double as like defensive tools. We're gonna have obviously, a couple of hunting knives, bowies on us. We got some sling bows, each one of us do, with darts and also pellets too as deterrent. I haven't bought it yet, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy it right now because by the time we get to the really dangerous area, it'll be cold enough that like bears and everything are hibernating, so I don't really think I need to get the bear spray now. But I will be getting it come spring next year though, definitely. And then just a couple of hidden things that, I mean, we can't tell you everything now. Like, there's some things we can't say on YouTube, So, okay, here's one you can answer. What if the weather gets ugly? You've got hair poking into your eye. Yeah. And you're the one that does the finances because you're the monarch of the family, so. Or the matriarch. I don't know why I said monarch, but yeah.
If it gets really extreme to the point where I can't tolerate it, hotel.
Yeah, hotel, motel, or if we're close to family, we'll just make them let us stay with them. I kid. So this one is exactly for you. How do you handle the strain?
By meditation, exercise, eating as best as I can, and focusing. My mind focuses on one thing, getting where I want to go.
All right, let me ask a question on top of that then. So, how are you able to focus so well with all of the distractions in the world? Because in this episode, right, I talked about the 7 steps of enlightenment, and one of those is talking about distractions and the temptations of the world. So how do you stay on that dead line?
Besides my meditations, I look at the positive side of things, and I also look at the consequences of what would be if I went in the wrong direction.
Well said. Well, there you go. You heard it from her mouth. I just asked that question out of the blue. Now, this next one I did kind of prepare her for a little bit, which is, are you scared? And remember, we talked about the language, so...
Heck yeah, I'm scared, but I I've been scared all my life, but it's never stopped me from living. Hell, me being in the hospital room when I had cancer and dying 3 times, that didn't stop me.
And see, you heard it from her mouth too, for all of those who might have thought that I was making up a story or trying to get some clickbait. No, you heard it right from her. Everything that I said in all those episodes was 100% true, not filtered. So, as for me though, the trauma that I've had in my life, I've developed something called EDS. For those who don't know what EDS is, it's called it stands for Emotional Detachment Syndrome. It basically means because of the trauma I've had, I can face anything like a bear, a mountain lion, tornado, hurricane, even the world ending, and just go, okay, and be chill about it, and just be like, okay, what do I need to do now? There is really no fear. Like, I've had friends that have joked around about me about I'm the type of person to stand up to a grizzly bear and the grizzly bear back away and go, nope, I don't want to mess with him. And I'm not saying that like I'm this big bad person. It's just, why would you really want to try somebody who literally has no fear? So, yeah. This one I'll let you take. I'll let you take the final one. We only prepared 15 questions because we didn't want to keep it too long. So,
What's the long-term plans?
well, this is about you, this whole thing we're doing. So, what is the long-term plan you want? Speak right to the camera with this one. Here.
My long-term plans is to be able to have a place, either of my own or my family, being at peace with no worries in the world anymore, being able to do my artwork and whatever else comes to mind without the stress.
And what would you absolutely... I said 15 questions, but I have to ask this more and more. And technically it's, 16 with the other one I asked. But anyways, or 17. Anyways, what would you absolutely not want to happen or be offered to you? And yes, I did say offered because there might be some people who come and on the surface it's masked as pure intent, but after digging down, it's ill intent. So what would you absolutely not want to be offered to you or to happen?
That is kind of a hard question to answer rather, because all that I've been through, I've learned to overcome it. So anything that is negativity, I just ignore it and walk away.
Here, how about you ask me? Just so that fair's fair. In your own way. Go ahead.
You answered the question. Just
Alright, so if I had to say something that I would never want to happen to me while we build this up, for me personally, it would be people focusing too much on my looks, my image, or my past, instead of looking at what I'm trying to do in the future I'm trying to build. Also, and this would be number one, but this goes without saying, anything happening to my daughter that is negative. So, like me permanently losing the ability to contact my daughter or something directly happening to her, that would definitely be something I would absolutely not want to happen. Now, as far as offered things, I'd say, for me, things like, a record deal that looks good on the surface, but then in fact it's, you know, slave labor, or somebody coming to me with a grand offer for a piece of land or something, and it turned out that they were just playing jokes, you know, things like that. Those would definitely be some of the ones
Two
I've
faces.
Yeah, yeah, because like we're so transparent, and we're trying to be transparent with this channel and every episode, to the point where at some point it might actually affect us negatively with how transparent we are. Like, we're going to keep personal information personal, but whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, we're going to show you if we can show you. And here's the thing, I don't monetize any of these videos. No ads, no nothing like this. So if there's an ad that rolls on any of these videos, let me know, because something's wrong, because I never did monetize them. So with that, I guess our Q&A is over. Hey everybody, so I want to thank y'all for viewing these videos as long as you have so far. If you stuck with me till now, I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. What I'm doing here is I'm just, you know, cleaning out the storage. I know it looks like a mess right now, but I got another storage unit that I'm actually upgraded to, and I'm moving all of this stuff over to the new one. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And bits and pieces, you'll be here with me for the journey. And I'm not going to show too many personal things, obviously, but I definitely will be showing, you know, some of the moving as the progress is made. I'll be showing you this storage getting cleaned out, and I'll show you the other storage and how, you know, all of that gets set up, getting us ready to move furniture and everything else from the place. So stick with me through that. There are going to be snippets and clips, because I do have to pause and put the phone down to move stuff. But when I edit this, hopefully, and I'm saying this preemptively because I don't know how well the editing is going to be, hopefully I'll be able to do smooth transitions from one to the next, and maybe layer in a little bit of music here and there. So stick with me through the journey. Alright everybody, so I just loaded up my first cart. I'm going to take it over to the other storage unit where I'm moving everything. Anyways, as I was saying, I just loaded up the first cart. I'm going to take it over to the other storage unit where I'm moving everything, and we'll go from there. Here's what I got for my first load. I know it looks like a bunch of nothing, but we're going to sort through all of this later on. I just got to move it from one to the other right now. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I will catch you guys when I'm over at that one. Alright everyone, well, I went over to the new storage unit, and here, I'll let you guys see it. Now you can see just how much bigger this one is than the other one. So, time to get to moving all of this. So, I wanted to talk to you guys while I'm doing this and let you know how much I appreciate every single view. You notice we don't ask you to subscribe or hit that follow button or any of that, simply because it's your choice whether you do that or not. Just like it's all of our choices out here, what we do from day to day. And because of that, I don't feel that it's right to tell you guys to, oh, subscribe. I mean, liking the video, sure, if you guys want to. Subscribing if you guys want to. Following us on Patreon, yeah. Once again, if you want to. So, we appreciate every one of you that chooses to. Wholeheartedly. Because at the end of the day, it's you, the viewers, who are the ones that help us stay relevant, that tell our story. Through each one of you sharing it, through each one of you passing it on, you help tell our story. And that's really all we want, is to be heard. Now, yes, donating to our GoFundMe, sharing this video, subscribing, and all of that is definitely a bonus. It's definitely wonderful when that happens, because that shows us that we're doing something right that you, the viewers, like. And one second. And that makes me feel good. I know it makes my mother feel good, because for so long she's been told that she does everything wrong. Even if she's doing things right, she's doing them wrong. And that could be a sick feeling to harbor inside of yourself and not tell anybody. It's hard when you have to go through most of your life like that, and then to be told that she's doing something right. She always doubts herself and asks if I'm sure. Whenever I tell her she's done a wonderful job, or that's amazing work, or whatever it is, right? She is always like, oh, well, kind of like me. Oh, well, I'm just doing what I do. I mean, I'm not really that good at it. All that mentality. So, the more support she has, the more she can grow and actually blossom. And I mean, yes, she's in her later years, but even in her later years, she can blossom into the woman she's always wanted to be. And that for me is a great feeling, to be able to see her go from doubting herself all of the time to her actually believing in herself. Oh, that's a glorious feeling for any child to watch their parent go through, whether it's their mother or their father. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna put this down. So, I just ask you guys to keep, let me get back on camera here. I just ask you guys to keep doing that. Just keep giving her words of encouragement. Keep telling her how good she is. But at the same time, I mean, if there's things that could be fixed, constructive criticism is always welcome for both of us. Mostly this is for her. I mean, yeah, I get bonuses and benefits by being her son and, you know, coordinating all this and doing most of the video. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be doing any of this if it wasn't for her. So, all of those out there who are struggling, who feel like they're at the lowest of the low, just know, once you hit rock bottom, there's only one way, and that's up. We're going to be fighting court battles in the future, where we're the plaintiffs, where we're suing people. And I was asked if I care how long it takes in court. And my response was something along the lines of, how did I put it? I spent most of my life with nothing, with only a little bit of knowing the high life, the rich life. So the only thing I really have at this point, being homeless, going nomad, doing what I do, is time. And see, that's a problem for the people I'm suing, because these people may have a lot of money, but they can't continue to have money unless they have the time to spend on doing their work. And if they're tied up in court, they're going to eventually use their reserves. or call in a favor, or whatever the case is. But as it draws out in court, the longer it goes, the less defense they have. Because I can keep compiling evidence after evidence after evidence. As little walls crack, bravados crack, more people come forward. So all I have is time. And I have the rest of my life. I've waited most of my life for the right time to sue these people. And so when that perfect moment hits, it will be a storm for them. And with that being said, now what I'm going to say is kind of contradictory, but you have to understand where I'm coming from. On one hand, yeah, money makes the world go round. Money's the root of all evil. You know, I had a shirt back in the day I designed that said that. But we all know without it we can't survive. So yes. Sorry, I'm looking for a place to put something. So yes, at one point, money is a necessary. But at another point, when it starts taking over your entire life and that's all you think about doing is making money, or, you know, how to make money to help those who you care about survive, it starts, I don't know what that is. I'll put a hit now. Maybe I'll find a better place when I'm moving stuff in. But it starts bogging you down. It really does. Like your entire day becomes about making money, surviving, where the next dollar is going to come from. And you forget to live. You forget to be with your families. You forget to spend time with your spouses or your kids, or even just hang out with your friends and enjoy what life you have. Because the lifespan of any of us is extremely short compared to the lifespan of the universe and the rest of existence that's going to be after us. So every moment is finite. It really is. And I forgot that after many years of struggling and of grinding away and trying to do business after business after business. It wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. And I forgot that I had people that loved me and were missing me. Like I was there, but I wasn't present. So this whole thing with my mom is scary. It's terrifying. But it's also liberating in a way. And that's what I'm going to leave you with as I pause, because I got to go back to the other storage to get this done. I only have today to get this done, so. Alright, so I'm back in my other storage, and now it's time for another round. So, I'm trying to keep this a little bit long. That way, it's enough time to actually have a video once I cut things down. Which, so far, there's not really much I need to cut down because it's real and raw. But we're at about, 13 minutes now. There's not much more I can show at this point because, everything looks the same. So, I guess I'll just talk about the plans. The plan is basically this. We're gonna clean up the storage. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna live our lives after we pack up all of the house and move it over to the storage. And then we're just gonna try and survive and make the best videos we can for you guys, showing the real truth of everything. We're not gonna fluff anything or sugarcoat it. If we don't get monetized on YouTube, honestly, we really don't care about that, because people see our story and there's other avenues to support us. Like I said, money is not what we care about the biggest right now. yes, it would be, sorry, I probably just put my face right into the camera there, but yes, it would probably be the best thing for us to have money, get her stabilized, get a piece of land, or, you know, enough to pay for rent for a while or a small whatever. But really, it's more about helping others like ourselves get through this, exposing the corruption that has been happening in this city, in this state, and with the government. Yeah, there's corruption. Everybody knows it. But who can do anything about it? Well, I'll tell you who can do about it. The people, because we are held as the people's court, and they are accountable for their actions to us because they are public servants of us. So, if our voice is loud enough, we will be heard. But we must stand united. We must stand hand in hand and forget about all the petty squabbles we go through in day to day, and remember that we wouldn't be going through these struggles if it wasn't for the way that the foundation was built or has been altered to meet the needs of certain groups or certain people. All I'm saying is, you can have your petty squabbles, but look at the bigger picture and eliminate the big problem. And when I say eliminate, I do mean like fight legally, put your voice out there, tell stories, be heard, things like that, you know. And if we have to band together, hand in hand with people that we don't like so much, but that have a common cause, always remember, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So therefore, eventually, we'll all be standing together if things keep going the way they are, whether we want to or not. So, just keep that in mind when you're beefing out on the streets, when you're yelling at your spouses, when you're getting frustrated at your kids who are just copying what they see around them and trying to learn about the world. Because some things are bigger than each one of us individually. That's why, at the end of the day, me and my mother realize there's not going to be many people that care about our cause at the end of the day. Okay? There's going to be people that watch it and go, okay, that was interesting, and move on with their day. And completely forget about it until they get a notification, if they subscribe or get notified or whatever, that there's a new video out. Like, we understand that. But for us, it still needs to be done. We can't just say, oh, you know what, there's nobody that's really going to support us, or very few people are going to support us, so we're not going to do it. No, at the end of the day, we still have to give it a shot. Because if we failed, at least we got somewhere in the process. At least we stayed in motion. We got further than we were. We took that chance. And that's what a lot of people forget, is how to take those chances. And it kind of holds you back in life. A lot. So, please, just think about that anytime that you're about to bicker with your spouse, you're about to bicker with your friends, you're about to bicker with your family. Just please keep that in mind, that there's some issues that are so much bigger than us individuals. And there's certain entities out there that want to keep us blind, that want to keep us squabbling, that we don't become an issue for them by banding together and actually making systemic change, actually making geological changes, ecological changes, economical, sociological. I can keep going on, but I think you get the point. So I have almost filled up the next cart, and I'll be on my way to the bigger storage in a minute to once again drop stuff off. And before I go, I know it looks still like a clutter. I've got things everywhere, but it's getting there. I'll show you guys. It's getting there. Now, in the comments, we will read them, and we'll answer them in the following video. Excuse me, it's kind of hard with the mask on and everything, but I have my reasons for this. Anyways, though, we will answer your comments in the next video, and we always look at the comments, you know, from the previous one. And if you guys can help me out and let me know if there is any free, like, software for video editing that I can splice together different videos so I don't have to keep pausing and keeping my phone on, draining my battery all the time doing this, that would be great. Like, I'm looking for something that I can either edit it right on my phone or right on my Chromebook that I got. That would be amazing. That would save me so much time and effort, because then I could just stop the video, take that file, load them all up, splice them together, put some transitions in there, throw some music over it with some title and ending cards, and we got ourselves a video. Because I'm not trying to do all those effects and this and that. Like, this isn't like an entertaining prank video or, you know, any of those others. This is real life stuff. So, about the storage. Right. Here's what we got. Right. There is some garbage and some other stuff that needs to be sorted through and taken out at the end, but that's the cart. That's what we got. I would load up the cart a lot more if I didn't have to hold the phone. If I didn't have to hold the phone in my hand while going, so that I could keep it from stopping the video and just have it paused, I would be doing a lot more. But for you guys, I'm taking small trips and doing the long haul. Maybe I could do one more thing. Please give me one moment. Sorry, I gotta put the phone down again. That should stay, actually. Nope. Gotta put on that. Okay. Yeah, I know you guys hearing me thinking about stuff. Alright, so close it up again, pause the video, I'll go over there, unload the stuff, and show you what the progress is so far. And then I'll do one more pause, and just after that, we're at about 23 minutes. Post editing will probably be at about 20. I like to keep my videos between 15 to 20 minutes usually, because then it's enough time if you're on break or something that you just want a quick watch, that I'm not editing out. That's just me in general. So if you wanted to catch a quick episode or something during your lunch or whatever, you got time to get that, watch the episode and still get back. So I like to think about all of those aspects of how would a viewer watch my video. And it could be any time of day at any place. And I try and make my videos to fit that life. So, anyways, I'll probably just clean out the rest and show you how the new storage is after we do this one last trip. That way I can get it done quicker. So, put the phone down, pause it, lock it up, all that stuff. Alright everybody, so here's what I got so far. There's still plenty of room, and in a few more trips I'll be done with it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grind it away, finish it up real quick, show you the old storage emptied out, like just because, and then I'll show you everything, you know, stocked up in here afterwards. So I'll see you in a bit. I figured if I'm gonna bring you guys along for the journey, might as well bring you along for the entire journey. So I will show you what I do in the storage, the new one, when I drop off this cart, and then when I come back I'll show you the old storage and how much is left. But I'm gonna pause it now, get over there, do that, because I've been here for almost 45 minutes and I just want to get done with this. Alright, so done with another load. I might have 2, maybe 3 more loads to go, but this is what we got so far. So I'm still leaving room for the dressers and other furniture we're going to be bringing in here. That'll all go along this side, and I'll probably pile up all the rest of the bags and stuff over here. So get back to it. I'll show you guys how it looks over there before I start cleaning things out. Alright, so we're back at the old storage. This is what I got left to clean out, so not too much, maybe 2-3 loads left, and then I'll be done. So I'm gonna get back to this and just grind away, and I'll show you at the end. So alright, so here we are for another round. Sorry, my camera got a little dusty, but here we are for another round, and so far I still got plenty of space in here for the furniture. So I'll go back, get another cart worth, come back, keep doing this, and I'll show you guys after every one. I know I keep changing it, I'll show you guys at the end, I'll show you guys, but you know, every time I'm about to do it at the end, I feel bad, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and show them. Alright, so another thing done in the storage. This load here, and then this is all we've got left. That stuff's just garbage right there. So this is all we got left, or I have left to do. Maybe another load, maybe 2 more. I'm trying to be real careful with this stuff because I got a lot of fragile things in here, and my mom does too, so I'm trying to do it bit by bit to make sure nothing drops. I'm not trying to overload it where it falls off the cart. But yep, almost done. I said maybe 1-2 loads, and then it's all said and done. So that'll be out of the way. Next video, next episode, I'm not sure. It'll probably be packing up the house again, and then after that it'll be like preparing the hiking packs and what we're doing for shopping and what we're buying for groceries and all that. So we're almost through this. Thank you for bearing with me. Alright, well, here we are. That's how it's looking so far. And I still got plenty of space. Once we transfer these bags to boxes and stuff, we're going to organize this. So Me and Amber, we're gonna organize this later on, but right now it's just a matter of us me transferring everything over. So when we organize it, we're going to be consolidating boxes, getting rid of some of these bags, taking out trash, donating what we don't need anymore, that type of thing. So let me get back to it because I'm starting to get tired, but I'll show you guys after the next one. Alright everybody, well, I got one more load to do, so it looked like it was 2. That's all I got left for my load, and then just that garbage. This is what I got on my cart. So, time to close up. Anyways, I had to move the cart out the way for somebody. Time to close it up. Get this second to last load done. Come back, get this last one, and then I'm done. Alright, so here we are with everything's looking pretty cramped in the corner, but it's looking kind of organized and good. So now just that final one, and I'm done. Thank you. Alright everyone, this is it. So now it's just packing it up in the new one, and I am out of here. So thank everyone for staying with me through this journey. I know the first video is probably going to be a bit choppy because, well, I gotta do the transitions and get the software and everything to edit the videos more cleanly, but it's done! So at the beginning till now, it's done. So, just gonna pause it one last time, get over there, do the final bit. Alright y'all, it's done. It's everything from that little storage into this one. I thank y'all for being on this journey with me and bearing with me while I did all this. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's an honest thing and it's part of our journey. So maybe if you're lucky, for those who are OCD like me, or cleanliness freaks like myself sometimes, we'll do a video of us sorting it out and throwing out and donating stuff we don't need, and then show you the reorganization afterwards. But as for right now, I'm locking everything down and I'm gonna get the heck out of here because I have not had anything to drink yet. I'm thirsty, I am hot, and now I am tired. So I'm gonna go home and relax. And y'all, once again, thank you for all the views. Thank you for being with us through this journey. Thank you for the support. And I'll see you next time. Y'all ain't ready for this one. This a Frost Lung exclusive. Yeah, she been through hell and she walked like heaven. Every step she takes makes the pain look less and curved from the struggle with the soul that's destined. Never let the trauma turn to a weapon. Back in the day when the lights went cold, she held that fire in her bones like gold. Couldn't fold even when the system stole. Raised me up like a verse told. Fire flaring, cancer head. Said she died but she ain't quit. Doctors doubted him and split, but she came back like, nah, I ain't it. 3 flat lines, still she rose. Broke those eyes like brittle bones. Told me son, we don't do thrones, we built our crowns from sticks and stones. Mama's hands, they paint her pain. Canvas bled like hurricane. screams through the strain. Still she walk like she owns that rain. No cash, no fame, no safety net. Still she love with the heart unfed. Still she cook with the soul and breast. Still she fights with the grace so blessed. She the reason I move like this. Reason I dream with the steel clad fist. Reason I spit with the tongue so swift. Each bar born from her crucifix. When I was broke, she stayed in place. Held that storm with the mother's grace. Never let pride of the world erase what we built in now in its space. Cops came knocking, bills came stacking, landlord threatening, whole world cracking. She ain't flinched, just started packing. Said, grab your soul, we gonna make this happen. Turned a van into a vision board. Turned pain into pain, no metaphor. Turned tears into tracks like a matador. Dodging every red flag life had in store. She the lion in my legacy, the prayer in my weaponry, the proof that pain births sympathy, the throne in my identity. So if you wonder why I run so fast, spit so quick, and the bars don't pass. Every verse I pen, every mic I